Coming up tonight at 5:30, the tailgate dinner till 6:30. Then from 6:30 to 8, right there at the Canton High School, Dan Gable, a part of the sports banquet to benefit the Canton-Inwood Area Health Foundation. You can still get tickets, and that information's online at ESPN991.com. Use the keywords Dan Gable. And $20 for adults, $15 for youth, but certainly an event that you want to be a part of tonight if you got kids that don't know about Dan Gable. If you have known about him for a long time and want to get your first glimpse of him up close and personal, check it out tonight at the Canton High School. And you can get all the information at ESPN991.com. And legendary wrestling coach, Olympic gold medalist Dan Gable now joining us here on the hotline. Dan, how you doing today?
I'm doing really good, thanks.
Hey, thanks for coming on the program. First of all, it's an honor to have you on the show. With a resume like yours, and I ask this to people that have accomplished so much like yourself, do you ever sit there and as a competitor, as a coach, sort of rank out what accomplishments you have? Is this one was more important or this one was better than the other? Is there one that maybe stands out above all the rest?
Oh, I think I've been asked that question before enough to know that what I say. But, for me, it's probably me being able to get other people to produce. It's probably in my coaching life, or it's in the kids that have done something, or the kids that have just been in the program and then they went on and they're doing something now, whether it be a year later, 2 years later, 10 years later. I really kind of measure people by what they're currently doing. And I didn't do that probably as much early in my career just because I was so concerned and consumed about wins, and I guess losses, but I didn't have a lot of them. But but at the same time, you just want the kids to be able to carry that on in life. So I would say that, sure, winning the Olympic Games, going unscored upon in 6 matches, getting a lot of media, following you and being able to help the sport of wrestling. That particular group in 1972, they're still famous today. They just Frank Gifford, the great football player and announcer, that made his career because he was a brand new announcer, and they put him on this wrestling sport that they didn't think he would get a lot of time on because he was a novice guy, and he got all kinds of airtime, and he said it catapulted him up into the greatness in that sporting part of the world. So, I don't know. There's a lot of things. But I guess it's I don't really think about it that much. I really kind of think about what I'm doing tomorrow. It's like when the Olympics popped up and all of a sudden we're having trouble with the Olympics for the future. My mind quickly focused on leadership at that level and,
sure.
and making sure that the leadership was changed enough to get everybody's eyes pulling in the right direction and all the help. So I guess I'm more concerned about tomorrow, and that's kind of why I'm on this radio station.
Absolutely, and we'll get to the event. We've talked about it quite often, the banquet that you're going to be a part of there at the Canton High School. But I wanted to hit on sort of when I was introduced to your name. I'm 30 now, but when I was a young pup, my grandparents are from Hayward, Iowa. My mother's from there, and they've been big Iowa lifelong fans. And when I was even young, my mom would take me back to her alma mater, which is Buena Vista College. And there's a guy named Al Baxter, who's the coach for a long, long time, who always raved about you, Dan. And that's sort of how I was introduced to you.
Yeah. Well, did you say you were 30?
I am 30.
I'll tell you haven't been around very long.
No, I have. I'm still wet under the ears, man.
Yeah, so you're just a beginner. But Al Baxter, wow, Al Baxter. He comes from Morning Sun. He goes to Lisbon, Iowa. These places are famous for wrestling.
Right.
And then he went to Buena Vista, and he did, is it Buena or Buena? I can't remember.
I think you could go either way.
but it's just a tremendous guy. Now, the thing about him that really bothers me is that he actually honored his wife, and that's good because his wife has relatives or from out in the East Coast, or maybe she was from there. I'm not sure. But after he retired, he left the state and moved out there. Now he comes to some wrestling events, but I hate losing great wrestling people out of the state, because we are a great state. He was a part of that tradition, a part of that building of our great sport. And then he goes and retires somewhere else out east. So, I just hold it against him, but not really. We're really good friends, and he built so much of this sport up himself that he did a great job.
Absolutely. Dan Gable joining us here on the hotline. I got this question from a friend of mine. I told him I'd pass it on. Who's the most talented wrestler you've ever been around?
Oh, boy, I tell you, that's a tough one. I mean, they ask me who was my most talented wrestler as a Hawkeye coach. And, I would probably say as a Hawkeye coach, I kind of stumbled on this athlete out in New Jersey when I was speaking at a banquet, and his name was Chris Campbell. And he was back in the early, middle 70s and early 80s. The guy actually won a world championship after he won the NCAA championships for the United States of America. And then he retired for 10 years, and he went and got his law degree and was working as a lawyer in a firm, and he decided to come back 10 years later to wrestle again and to go for the Worlds and Olympics again. And he ended up getting 2 more world medals and Olympic medals 10 years after he stopped wrestling.
Wow.
So that's Chris Campbell. But there's so many kids that I talk about, and that's just on my team. In the world, I'd have to look at some Russians. Some of these Russians that come out of the mountains and had to survive because of that would give them status.
Yeah.
There's sometimes real motivation in the guy that makes you pretty good. And I'd say I probably have picked up more skills and techniques from the sport of wrestling from the country of Russia, just because they have dominated in the last 70 years.
Dan, go back with me. I know you brought it up a little bit ago, but the day that you heard that the IOC was looking at removing wrestling from its competitions, what emotion ran through you that day at that moment?
Well, at that moment, it was unbelievable because it was like 5:30 in the morning. My wife was an early riser at that particular morning, and she was on the internet already, and she come on and she kind of woke me up, and she said, "Dan, I just read something. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's something about they're going to drop wrestling out of the Olympic Games." And I heard that, and I just rolled over and said, "What are you on one of these message boards? Where they got all these rumors?" And she goes, "I don't know, but." And so I just kind of rolled over and acted like it wasn't going to affect me. But by the time I rolled 180, I was up on my feet.
Yeah.
And I was out, and I'm looking at what she read, and I made a call right then to the top guy in the United States of America for wrestling, the executive director of USA Wrestling. I called him it was 5:30 Iowa, 6 o'clock Iowa time. Probably by that time it was 5 o'clock Colorado time. And he answered the phone, and he said, I know what you're calling about.
Yeah.
And it's true, And so it caught him off guard as well. But so, I basically right there, I cried.
Really?
I got mad. I cried.
Really?
And then I went to work.
Yeah.
So got organized, and we've done a lot since then. But I'll tell you what, we've been a little crooked. Of course, it's all crooked, somewhat at that level, but not as bad as maybe we were. And we just needed to put our fingers and hands on the leadership of the world for wrestling, and that was the only time we could do that because our backs were against the wall, and because we did some pretty good things, we were voted back in, but we still aren't where we need to be. We're still working very hard on it, and we kind of let up. We got people that are still in there that need to realize what positions they're in of authority, and so it's a never-ending process.
Wednesday edition of Overtime here on ESPN 99.1. Legendary wrestling coach, Olympic gold medalist Dan Gable joining us. I want to get your take on a couple of programs right now that are defunding wrestling. You got Northern State here in South Dakota. They put the wrestling program on hold. Cleveland State just a few days ago garnering a lot of criticism for doing the same. I even talked to the South Dakota State athletic director a couple weeks ago, and before they made a switch as far as their head coach is concerned, they were even entertaining that option, and they've been able to turn their program around with the hire that they had. Who's at fault here for these programs being possibly eliminated?
Well, you got to have a good coach. I mean, a good coach can really take a program, but you got to have a little bit of support from there. And the bottom line is their kids are out there. The numbers are out there. You just, I think we're lacking actually teacher education colleges and we're hurting for numbers. And the fact that, sometimes when you want to get into that profession, it's really not a high enough goal in your career from a financial point of view right away. So, it's like sometimes we raise these athletes to be superior athletes and try to make them be national champions or state champions and stuff. And so we have extremely high goals, but then all of a sudden we put them in a teacher education program and they're starting out at the rock bottom and they just don't understand that. So, that's part of it. But I think both of the programs that you just mentioned, because of leadership again, that we didn't have in our in our country in the United States several years ago, would be, they're gone. But I don't think either one of those programs are gone. I think both of those programs will be back in a short period of time. Now, I could be wrong, but I'm usually not wrong. So.
Yeah, we know that. Dan Gable joining us. Tonight, you're going to be in Canton, South Dakota. Dinner starts at 5:30. Then you got the auctions, and you get your the chance to listen to Dan Gable speak even more there at the event tonight. You looking forward to being with us here in South Dakota this evening?
Oh, I love South Dakota. I love Iowa. And, it's just, I get so much to talk about. But, I'm going to have to limit it to what I talk about. I'm bringing in a little a live auction for myself and my career a little bit that people can actually look and help raise funds for, great causes. So I'm hoping to be there. I am going to be there. I'm already in Sioux City right now in a motel, and I will be getting a little workout, and then I'm going to be up there in Canton, and I just know that I have a lot to talk about, but I'm not going to have to do it in a short period of time because that's not what the evening's all about. I just hope to motivate a few people to help the cause, and as well, it's about health, it's about excellence, and I'll tell you what, with health and excellence, you got two good topics, and I'll throw in a little bit of leadership, and hopefully you'll leave motivated and want to help the cause.
Dan, what's a workout for you these days?
Well, as you get, the one thing that I did as an athlete, as a coach in my first 10 years, I worked really extremely hard. And I actually did that the same way as an athlete. But then as I got older in the last few years, I had to add some smartness to it. So really, I'm getting a little smarter. There's not a day that goes by that I don't get a workout in, but it kind of depends on how my body feels that particular moment. And instead of going like marathon type of training, hard, long, I'm going good warm-ups, good hard, 10, 12, 15 minutes of cardio to another 7, 8 minutes of good strength training. And then I hit the sauna, I hit the steam room, I hit the hot tub.
Yeah.
I love that type of good feeling. It gets me ready. So, but I don't miss too many days. I've been doing it since I've been born. So
good for you, man. Keep it up. And Dan, this is the first time we've had you on the show. I hope it's not the last. I could keep you for an hour. I'm fascinated by your career and what you've been all about. So hopefully we can do this again sometime soon. Hey, I'm ESPN radio has been great for our sport, and just glad to talk to you. And hopefully I'll be on in a short period. Thank you. Hey, thanks, Dan. Have a good time tonight. Appreciate the time. The great Dan Gable, everybody. Legendary wrestling coach, Olympic gold medalist. No joke. We could have gone 2 hours there. Al Baxter's a name that not many people maybe know as much as they know Dan Gable, but he's Iowa wrestling royalty too. He's in the Iowa Wrestling Hall of Fame, and that's a guy that I got to know at a young age. I got some Buena Vista Beaver gear as a youth. They won like 6 national championships, I think, with Al Baxter as their head coach of Buena Vista. Yeah, you can go Buena or Buna, whatever you want. I've been there, and they've said it both ways. People that work there, people that are going to school there. Yeah, that's where my dad and my mom met, and it must not have been the most harmonious place to meet because they got divorced. So I don't know if matches are made in heaven in Buena Vista, but that's where they met, and both of them went to school there. So Al Baxter, good guy. Dan Gable is a great guy too, man. That was a lot of fun.